Good evening, everypony. We've got a different type of story I'm quite excited about, so let's begin this episode of FIM Fiction Roulette, a series where I go through the annals of film fiction, take a random story and a random chapter from within said story, if applicable, and read it aloud for all of you to hear. Before I discuss the story, I wanted to mention that I attended the illustrious MareCon 2025. Sadly, I only saw a couple panels since I was working all 3 days, but what I did get to see was really fun. I'll watch the vids of the rest at my convenience, and perhaps next year I'll do a panel myself. Also, as a side note, Comfy is the best mascot. All that aside, we have a story to get to. I mentioned it was a different type than normal. That's because it's written in second person. Of course, that means it's Anon in the pony world, so we'll see how that goes. Also, looks to be pretty saucy, with the love interest being Twilight. Twilight's not my first choice, but that being said, I'm not immune to her charms, so I wait with bated breath on how this romance will go. As always, we'll start with the introduction, then head into our selected chapter. Without further ado, this is How Did I Get Here? Seriously, by Eggnog Milk. Okay, how the fuck did you get here? 1 second you were asleep in your bed, and the next you're awake in the ever-free forest from your childhood favorite show? And how the hell do you have magic? And now on to our selected chapter. Chapter 10. Short Thoughts. Holiday. It's been 2 weeks now since you and Twilight did that, and it's really starting to put a toll on your brain. You got a fucking pony pregnant in a world you want to leave as soon as possible. God fucking damn it. Twilight has taken it much better than you, but she's still acting awkward with you. It isn't that surprising, but it makes things difficult for you as you really need to talk to her about what you're going to do about this situation. But maybe it's good that she's acting awkward because, quite honestly, you're torn internally about this. You've always wanted a kid. It was always a dream that you only really told your closest friends. And it's always seemed out of reach. Now you have a chance at raising one with some pony you really like in a world that's much happier than Earth. But, at the same time, you desperately want to go home. It's been so long since you've seen your parents and siblings. Shit, you even miss work right now. But you can't just leave Twilight as a single mother, so what the hell can you do? Oh yeah, then there's the part that this changes the entire future. Who knows what will happen now that Twilight is going to have a kid? The entire universe could collapse for all you know. But then again, there's the chance that almost nothing will change. So there's that, I guess. Anyhow, you're currently researching like usual. You still just cannot for the life of you figure out how you got here and how to get back. It's to the point that you're almost considering blowing up Canterlot just to find some kind of evidence of how you got here. Almost. You stand up from the table, rubbing your tired eyes. You walk to the front door and step out, deciding to go on a bit of a nature walk. You step into the everfree forest, casting a spell that creates an invisible shield around you. Don't want another situation like the cockatrice, after all. You take a few moments to take in the beauty of the plants and stuff around you. Sure, it's plenty less pretty and safe than every other forest in Equestria, but that's sort of what makes it beautiful. It's almost like you're back home. Really. Home. You never liked cities, honestly. They're so crowded and there's concrete everywhere. You've never seen how people find them elegant and nice. It makes you glad you were raised in a home that was right next to the forest. You always loved going in there and exploring. It was so peaceful and nice to look at the birds and the trees. Hell, there was even a river nearby, so you also sometimes fished from it. Never caught anything, though, despite the large amount of fish in it. Just not your strong suit, I suppose. Speaking of which, you come across a young river, which you're pretty sure is the one seen in the second episode of the show. You decide to sit down by it, continuing your thoughts back to Twilight. You never would have thought you'd end up fucking a cartoon horse. Not only that, but get her pregnant. God, why did you say yes? This is the last thing you need. Having a crush on a horse you've watched since childhood and getting her pregnant while trying to get home. If your family ever found out about this, you'd be getting a few restraining orders for sure. Well, at least there's one thing to be happy about, you suppose. If you can't ever get home, you'll at least have something that's good, right? You'll have a kid, at least. You never admitted this to anyone, but You've entertained the thought of having a kid someday for a good few years now. So you have this to look forward to, I suppose. You look into your reflection, noticing how terrible your mane is right now. Your bangs are nearly covering your eyes, and your beard is getting a bit long, actually. The beard kind of suits you. You've always wanted to try out a long beard. You then look into your own eyes, feeling a bit confused at how old they look. You've had a lot of stress since coming here, and this situation now, to put it lightly, fucking sucks. You sigh, sitting down, using your magic to have a pair of headphones appear on your head. You start to listen to... Hey, this is Weezer. Hadn't listened to them in way too long. It's been too long since you've had a relaxing day. At least on Earth you could talk to someone. Here the only ponies you've talked to a lot here are Applebloom, who is a child so you can't really vent to her, and Twilight, who you don't want to be near right now. Perhaps you need a holiday. Yeah, that sounds good. A holiday. Finally, a good idea. That might be the strongest opening to a chapter I've ever read. It stunned me for a minute there. I appreciate that real thought is given to getting another character pregnant, and ramifications both good and bad are thought of. I can understand wanting to go back to your original world, but I feel like you're in a world that's pretty close to a utopia, with the child you've always wanted. Like, do you have to be so focused on getting back? Not that you wouldn't want to find a way, or at least know that the option exists, but, like, come on. And again, not that there wouldn't be consequences to the action of staying, missing your loved ones being the main problem. But would they not also want you to live your best life? A tough decision that is not always handled the best in these types of stories. Here I feel like it's okay, but not the best, at least from this small excerpt. Beyond that, I enjoyed reading in second person. I hope to do more. From this short chapter, I would say I'm entertained. Not sure if I would like the entire story, but color me interested. My question for you, my dear viewers, is if you had the option to be transported to a fictional world but could not come back, where would you go, or would you choose to stay? This was How Did I Get Here? Seriously. Thank you, Eggnog Milk, for making such a wonderful story. The link will be in the description below. And thank you, listeners, for joining me on this exciting adventure. This is Open Air, signing off. But don't worry, I'll be back soon with another FIM Fiction Roulette. You never would have thought you'd end up fucking a car... Fuck. You never would have thought you'd end up fucking a cartoon horse. You know... Me neither, brother.